Newport News in Review starts right now.
Hello, I'm Aaron Pritchett, and welcome to this edition of Newport News in Review for the month of August 2011. Well, no one said that it was here to stay, but it sure has been nice while it lasted, even with all the heat and humidity that it brought along with it, as the sun begins to officially set on summer. Before you set your sights on the cool, comfortable, and colorful confines of fall, there's still plenty of time to get out and enjoy this beautiful weather, and more importantly, the great outdoors. Something that comes pretty natural to the Forest Resources branch of the Natural Resources Division of Newport News Waterworks, as we proudly shine the spotlight on them and the fine work that they do year-round, maintaining the 12,000 acres of watershed property here in Newport News and throughout the Virginia Peninsula. Trees, trees, and more trees. Beautiful creations that we too often fail to appreciate and quite frequently ignore altogether. But when we take the time to reflect on them, they offer us thoughtful lessons on life by reminding us to stick to our roots, branch out in all directions, mature, and ultimately stand tall through it all. And over the decades, the trees on the Newport News Waterworks watershed properties have stood tall. But what many folks don't know is that as they stand there, so tall and silent, those trees are really hard at work. That's because trees play an important role in helping to get fresh, clean water to the taps of the more than 400,000 Newport News Waterworks customers who live and work on the Virginia Peninsula. And that is why it's important for our watershed forest to be kept in tip-top condition. And fortunately for us, the Waterworks Forest Resources branch has got you covered because they serve as the first line of defense in protecting water quality. Although it may be hard to see the trees for the forest and fully understand how it all works, this hardworking group performs a critical job that takes them into the great outdoors and behind the scenes in all types of weather. As good stewards of the environment, they implement a wide array of proactive programs that keep our watersheds healthy and our water quality high. Everything from the simple act of planting trees, where they've put in over 1 million trees in the ground since 1980 to ensure a much brighter future. They're getting down and dirty, not to mention a little wet, pulling debris and other junk out of the water. And when dangerous structures within Waterworks properties have the potential to jeopardize water quality, we're definitely not afraid to take them down. Jobs like these aren't this team's only tall orders. Caring for the countless number of tall trees covering numerous tracts of watershed property is also one of their essential duties. Keeping the trees strong and healthy requires special attention year-round. So these highly qualified foresters suit up, gear up, and get into the thick of things with some very specialized pieces of equipment. Some small, and some quite large, that enable them to cut back an overgrown forest of 20,000 to 40,000 trees per acre to a more manageable and healthy size of around 600 trees per acre. Thinning the trees in this way frees up sunlight and other nutrients, so the remaining trees grow stronger and healthier, allowing them to do a better job of naturally filtering the water that passes through the watershed, to the reservoirs, and eventually to your tap. All of this behind-the-scenes effort may be a surprise to you, but this and much more is all in a day's work for the Forest Resources branch and the entire inner workings of Newport News Waterworks, as they remain committed to providing you with high-quality drinking water every day of the year. We are proud to feature the Forest Resources branch of the Natural Resources Division of Newport News Waterworks and thank them for the efforts they put forth in ensuring clean drinking water today, tomorrow, and well off into the future. Well, August has been another busy month, so let's take a look at what's been going on right here in the city of Newport News. It's news you can use, because if you think that high gas prices are a problem at the pump, wait until you see what these little devices can do. As the Newport News Police Department warns about the newest means of identity theft that recently showed up for the first time in the state of Virginia. Prepare to set sail on a much smaller scale, thanks to one very popular museum and its priceless collection of miniature ships that have carved out quite a memorable place in the hearts and minds of visitors from around the world. And the dream is finally here, as the highly anticipated public art sculpture Build a Dream prominently takes its place on the corner of 31st Street and Jefferson Avenue, and helps to serve as another piece to the puzzle in helping to revitalize the southeast community of Newport News. One of a kind, shining bright, and more importantly, finally here. And although it may have taken a little longer than expected to arrive, it was indeed well worth the wait, because it has the potential to inspire, lift up, transform a community, and greater yet, inspire us all to build a dream for the future. As the most prominent African-American sculptor in the country recently returned to install his newest sculpture entitled Build a Dream at the corner of Jefferson Avenue and 31st Street, which marks the 14th public art piece in the Newport News Public Art Foundation's growing collection and the first in the southeast community of Newport News.
It's been a while. You know, we were planning to do this back in early part of the year, and unfortunately the artist, Richard Hunt, had a serious health issue. So we had to delay it, but here we are, and this week is really, it's great for the city. It's a phenomenal piece of art. It's another example of the city's continuing contribution and investment and concern about the southeast community. And Richard's here with us this week. He's actually installing the art and finishing the art. Unlike many of the other pieces we've done before, the other pieces came in and they were complete. This one is still a work in art, literally hour by hour. The logistics part of it is very interesting. This particular piece came in 3 pieces. It weighs in at about 3,000 pounds. So it was shipped from Chicago on a flatbed truck, and then we had a rather large crane to offload it and then stack the pieces.
Well, I'm in a 35-ton crane. I can pretty much pick up anything out here. It's fun. It's nice to tell people what I've done, all the sculptures that I've put up for the communities. Once again, it's interesting.
I worked with Richard off and on for quite a while. Well, it's exciting. It's exciting to introduce the piece to the community and even to watch the community to interact with the piece. And it's always an exciting venture just to get in there and get it done. Yeah, a lot to do, but we're here until it's done. You know, whatever it takes, we're here. Whatever he needs us to do, we're here to help him through it. But it will be complete in the time period. His deadline will be met.
So you've got engineers, you've got a general contractor, you have electricians. Here we've got Richard along with some welders and a lot of heavy equipment. And he is creating a piece of art right here for the community. It's called Build a Dream, and he's literally building the dream as we watch him this week.
So even now, I'm looking and I'm thinking, well, you know, with everything in place, I might do another little something that goes a little further up and at a certain angle based on kind of how everything looks. And it turns out that this welded, fabricated method is very open to, you know, once it's all welded together, it's there, permanent and everything. But one of the things that's possible is to be kind of open-ended and improvisational even when you're working on something very large. And I like to reserve that as my kind of artistic license or prerogative. And so that's the way this is developed, and that's the way it's still developing.
As we look around here this afternoon, it's like the third piece. If we look up the street, we can see the Hornsby Tire Store, which we did last year. And the church across the street has been there some number of years. But then we look up Jefferson Avenue, we've got the Martin Luther King Jr. Park, which is completed and will be open to the public very soon. And so this is yet another step. Now the interesting and important thing on this particular piece is on the corner here of Jefferson Avenue and 31st Street, and where we're standing today is roughly a 14-acre site. And the city, through its Economic Development Authority, is partnering with Aaron Brooks and Armada Hoffler, and we hope to develop this 14 acres into a mixed-use new community. And we hope that by next spring that we'll be able to start construction on the early first phase right here on this site. And Richard's art this is the gateway to that new 14-acre development.
What an exciting day to be here in Newport News. We want to welcome you to the Richard Hunt Sculpture Ribbon Cutting Ceremony. Jefferson Avenue in front of this sculpture will soon be transformed by the Streetscape project. And Dominion Power has already set up a large laydown area, which you can see between 28th and Jefferson Avenue. And they're going to begin installing underground utility lines. And behind this sculpture will be the Southeast Commerce Center project, where we're going to turn what was previously blighted property into a mixed-use development. And that is something we need to celebrate.
What's exciting about public art to all of us is that it's art for everyone. You don't have to pay $20 and walk into some fancy art museum to go see this. This is art that becomes part of our lives. For every one of you in this neighborhood, this is going to be a part of your life now. You're going to drive past it every day. You're going to say, what the heck is that thing? What does it mean? And it's going to grow on you, just like a piece of music does or a piece of artwork. It's going to become part of the fabric of this community. These sculptures are changing our city, and they're changing this neighborhood. Because what this piece of art is, it's more than a sculpture. It's a symbol that all of you in this neighborhood have said, we believe in the future of this neighborhood, and this is how we're showing it to you. You have made an investment in this neighborhood. You have said to the people, to all of us here, that we're going to enjoy this sculpture. But not only are we going to enjoy it, your children are going to enjoy it. Your grandchildren are going to enjoy it. Your great-grandchildren are going to enjoy it. And people are going to come here 50, 100, 150 years from now, and they're going to see this. And they're going to say, all of the people in this room today had a vision for this community and this neighborhood. That's what today is about.
There is this life process of development and decay. Those lucky people who were the founders of the community obviously gave us something to renew and build upon, but it's important that the people gathered here are committed to rebuilding, to re-energizing, and to make beautiful this community. And I'm happy that you have a person like Bobby Freeman who wants it to be beautiful with works of public art as well as all the other amenities. And you know, my heart is very full and I have a very warm feeling for all of us gathered here. And I thank you, everyone, for the opportunity of placing this work in your community. Thanks so much. Thank you.
1, 2, 3. Technology can be a wonderful thing, especially when it's used to improve and enhance the way we do things. But when it gets into the hands of those looking to use it against us, it can be detrimental to all aspects of our lives. And the scary thing is, you may not even realize that it could be happening. So, in an effort to make you aware of what's out there, the Newport News Police Department recently held a press conference at their headquarters building to discuss a recent incident that utilized some of the latest technology that has never been seen before in the state of Virginia and has the potential of hitting you harder than ever the next time you fill up at the pumps.
With the new emerging of technology, it is a scary world out there. We have recently got a report, so we were dispatched to the raceway and Oyster Point. At that time, the customer was complaining that her card was not being processed. Ultimately, the clerk had noticed that the tape dispenser was showing that it was empty. So at that time, they went out to the pump and noticed all these wires and immediately called somebody. And luckily, the company knew that this was a going technology. So at that time, they were able to collect these devices off the pumps. And this is what we call a Bluetooth device. These devices are attached to the actual card reading machine that's on the pumps. And then it's electronically transmitted to possibly a suspect nearby. So they're actually recording the credit card number at the time the transaction is going on. Unfortunately, the United States is elected to still keep the magnetic strip credit card. Everybody else is going to what they call the chip and pin, which is actually an electronic chip that's embedded into the credit card, and it can't be duplicated and it can't be transmitted through these type of devices. Unfortunately, the victims will never see these type of devices from the outside. There's nothing to check for, but if there's a false skimming device, they need to shake the outside of it and make sure that it's not loose. I would also like to tell the customers out there that they need to use credit rather than debit. Once they've received your debit card PIN number, then they can duplicate that to a counterfeit credit card and then basically draw out that money out of your accounts. I'm with the Secret Service Task Force with Norfolk. I'm going to be sending this off to the Secret Service, and hopefully they can process it and give me some probably DNA, fingerprints, or any type of evidence that might trace back to these suspects. Usually these type of groups get stopped for a traffic violation and an officer happens to see what's inside, you know, and sometimes officers let them go because they don't know what they're looking at. So I'm trying to train my department and everybody out there that, you know, what kind of devices are out there. And citizens need to be diligent in looking at their fraud and report it to their credit card company. Also, the merchants, if they find these devices, please contact the Newport News Police Department.
When one door closes, luckily another one opens. And fortunately for passengers looking to travel here, there, and everywhere, this particular door just got opened to a whole new way of taking to the skies. As the Newport News Williamsburg International Airport recently held a press conference to announce a new air carrier service coming in November.
We are very delighted to be here this morning. Just to think, 18 days ago, we had an announcement that was very surprising to this community, and we're very excited to be here 18 days later to bring another surprise to this community, and that's announcing a new airline to the Newport News Williamsburg International Airport and a new airline to Southeast Virginia. That airline is Allegiant Air, a wonderful, wonderful, efficient airline that's been setting records all over the United States, bringing people to sunny destinations. We're very excited about this announcement from Allegiant Air. We've been working with them for some time now to come into this market and take advantage of the population travel habits. And Orlando Sanford will be the first destination that Allegiant Air does out of the Newport News Williamsburg International Airport. They'll start November 16th, 4 flights a week to Orlando Sanford, and with incredible low prices. And we're very excited to have this happen so soon after the announcement that AirTrain Airways will be leaving our market.
We have a different business model than a lot of the other carriers. We like to serve smaller communities with nonstop jet service into what we term world-class leisure destinations, like the Florida markets, Phoenix, Las Vegas, and the Los Angeles region. Well, Allegiant has been profitable for several quarters now, and we're one of the only carriers that has been profitable. So we love to be able to come into communities that will respond to us being in that community, provide that nonstop jet service, and just continue to grow that community because, again, between leisure and business travel, there is a connection. So in order to help that community stay thriving, you need jet service, and that's what we're pleased to be able to provide for all of those smaller communities.
We're very excited to have this addition. As we've spoken before about the unfortunate events that took place on August 1st with the announcement that AirTrain will be pulling out of our market, we're very, very confident in rebuilding our market, and we believe this is the very first step into a long, bright future in building the Newport News Williamsburg International Airport with Allegiant Air and all the other carriers that serve us.
Sometimes it's hard to see the forest for the trees, especially when you find yourself in the midst of 12,000 acres of watershed property here in the city of Newport News and throughout the Virginia Peninsula. But when it's your job to properly maintain it and work behind the scenes year-round to ensure the highest water quality possible, it's all in a day's work for the Forest Resources branch of the Natural Resources Division of Newport News Waterworks.
Not many people realize, they think just, you know, turning on the tap, you get water out, but what goes on behind the scenes, who would ever thought that we're out here, you know, picking up debris out of the woods, you know, to help make that water cleaner before it makes it to your tap. We are in James City County, right at the edge of Newport News County line and James City County on the Skips Creek Reservoir. This is a Polaris. It's a 6-wheel ATV, and it makes life easy. It has a winch, cable winch system on it, and we're able to pull debris out of this bank. The bank that tires and metal and so forth is embedded in this bank, and makes the job easy. Who knows how long this material has been embedded in this bank? Many decades, I'm sure, but we have to get rid of this material. It could end up in our reservoir over a period of time, and we need to get it out of here. This is not one special moment here. We maintain properties throughout on the Waterworks properties that adjacent to homeowners and right-of-ways, roadways, and we have to clean up and make sure that the debris is not an eyesore to the public.
You know, Waterworks, we do a lot here, and a lot of it goes on behind the scenes, and not a whole lot of it gets noticed. So for us, we get out here and we do the best that we can as far as making clean water. I mean, that's our end result is getting clean water, but you know, there's a lot that we can do in the natural environment that really, on the end result really helps out everybody.
We have a forest management program. We've actually had one since probably the early 1900s. Still doing it today. You know, really, if you want to have a healthy watershed, healthy trees, you have to do something to manage the forest. You know, if you just let nature take its course, you know, you don't really have any control over stocking, tree species, ages, stuff like that. So, you know, forest management always plays a big part in forest health. This is an area that had a timber harvest about probably more than 10 years ago. It had a thinning done. In areas that were opened up to a lot of sunlight, we had a whole lot of trees regenerate and got overstocked. So we're doing some timber stand improvement work, specifically pre-commercial thinning. We're trying to get the stocking down to a good number of trees where they'll all grow healthy. Where we're standing now, we're probably within 300 yards of the reservoir. You know, we like to, with our forest management program, what we're doing is creating a diversity of tree species and a diversity of tree ages. That way, if we have any one insect, disease, natural event, whether it be fire, wind, ice, you know, we don't lose all the trees on the watershed. It's kind of like investing, not putting all your eggs in one basket. We have a broad cross-section of different tree species and different tree ages.
Well, I mean, anytime I get to spend time out in the woods, of course, you know, that's going to be something I like doing. You know, especially getting out here and kind of being a part of the bigger picture of making clean water for the city of Newport News. You know, it keeps us pretty busy. It's definitely a full-time job, day in, day out, and you know, it's a never-ending job. You know, these trees keep on growing, and we keep on managing.
We're on the watershed property in the York County area. We're off Baptist Road in York County. This is an area, it's about a 20-acre forest. Back in 2003, it was pretty much wiped out by Hurricane Isabel. We let the area naturally regenerate, so it came up with a lot of pine and some hardwoods in here. And it's really overstocked. There's about 20,000 trees per acre, and we're in here now doing a pre-commercial thinning. We're going to take it back to about 500 trees per acre. The first step of the pre-commercial thinning is we come in what we call an environmental shredder. It's a big machine that's got a big mulching head on the front of it, and we use that to basically take out trees. Well, big picture, we want the trees to be healthy. Healthy trees do a good job of filtering runoff, taking in nutrients, you know, that kind of stuff. So we want the trees as healthy as possible. What the pre-commercial thinning does is it gets the trees to the proper spacing where they can use the sunlight, nutrients effectively. It just kind of reduces competition so the remaining trees can grow well.
That machine really saves us a lot. It would take weeks and weeks to come through here manually and do everything that machine's going to get done in one day today. Yeah, when this thing comes through and mulches up these pine trees, you know, we're returning those nutrients back to the soil. And so it provides a good ground cover. It provides, you know, another seed bank down there as well. And so, you know, all in all, it does a really good job of you know, providing nutrients to the trees that we have left. You think about this right here, you don't see clean water, you know, from what we're doing right now, but in the whole web of everything that we do, you know, this is one strand of it. So we kind of we start here. This is kind of where really where the water hits the ground. And you know, we do what we can out here to let it trickle its way on into our reservoir.
We're the first line of defense in protecting water quality.
Some of the best things in life are right before your very eyes. Some are pretty obvious and others, well, too small to see. But once they are discovered, they're yours to enjoy and treasure for a lifetime. And ever since the late 1950s, people of all ages have been able to experience life on a much smaller scale, thanks to a permanent exhibit that has carved out a fascinating niche of its very own inside the comfortable confines of the Mariners Museum in beautiful Mariners Museum Park.
This exhibit is called the Miniature Ships of August and Winnifred Crabtree, and it's a way for the museum to really promote and show the work and the art of August Crabtree, who was really one of America's renowned ship modelers and artists. The Crabtree collection is really one of the jewels of the Mariners Museum. And it's interesting, I can talk to people who were here 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, even 20 years ago. And the first thing that comes to mind is basically the ship models of August Crabtree. Everybody remembers these models. They're such beautiful models. They really sort of show the evolution from sail to steam. And it really just shows really one man's art and dedication to ship model building. People are just wowed by the detail, the dedication that Crabtree had for these ship models and for his art as a model ship maker. August Crabtree, great-great-grandfather, was a Scottish shipbuilder on the River Clyde. Crabtree sort of already had shipbuilding in his blood, although he went from shipbuilding to model building. And he was in Portland, Oregon, became sort of amazed at this exhibition of ship models and decided to dedicate his life and his time and his art to making these wonderful, wonderful ship models. He became very enamored with the whole art of shipbuilding and became a ship modeler even for some of the Hollywood movies in the 40s and 50s. Some of the movies about these pirates, you see these ships on the ocean and they're actually Crabtree's models sort of floating out into a pool of water. But Crabtree was just fell in love with these, and he would do extensive research for the time, trying to figure out, well, how were these ships made, how were they built, and try to really duplicate that with these models that are here. And they're really a national treasure. There's no other place you can go besides the Mariners Museum to see such beautiful models, to see the craftsmanship, the time that Crabtree dedicated to these models. And I mean, they're just a wonderful thing to have here at the Mariners Museum.
Just from the immediate first viewing, and when they see it the first time, if one of the docents isn't here to do an interpretive tour, as I like to call it, with the historical background, they walk in here on their own. They are always amazed. It's like going to a jewelry shop where they, display the finest jewelry. So this exhibit here illustrates the internationality of the museum's entire exhibit. This exhibit presents the evolution of water transport from the raft to steam power.
Well, it is amazing to see that detail, and the gallery is just such a beautiful gallery to walk into, just the way that we set up the lighting. And we have the models in the individual cases, and the models are just lit beautifully with all these lights. And there are some magnifying glasses in the cases that you can go in and see the detail. But the detail is really overwhelming and astounding when you really begin to go in there and see even the miniatures on the ship. This would take him months and months just to do one miniature. So it really does show one man's love for his art and one man's love for his craft, and really an artist, and the beauty of art in front of you as you see it when you walk into the gallery. And Crabtree really raised the bar for model makers worldwide, and I don't think any model maker has yet surpassed the beauty and the detail of these models.
Well, that's about all the time we have for you this month. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of Newport News in Review, as we spend some time in the great outdoors with the Forest Resources branch of the Natural Resources Division of Newport News Waterworks. And as always, on behalf of everyone here at Newport News TV, whether you're watching us on TV or online at nngov.com, Facebook, or YouTube, thanks for watching. And we'll see you here real soon for the September edition of Newport News in Review, right here on Newport News Television.
For more information on Newport News and Review, contact Aaron Pritchett at apritchett@nngov.com.